Hello and welcome to the D3 podcast. This is your host, Matt, joined as always by John and Kevin. How's it going, boys?
Hello, hello.
It's going great. Feeling good, fresh off my big three-peat victory in our fantasy basketball league. That's 3 years straight for the unversed. I did it. I pulled it off. It looked rough at the beginning. I'll tell you that. I thought it was lost. It was a tough journey there. But my team came through when it mattered most. Shout out to Kenyon Martin Jr. helping carry me to victory. Shout out Willie Hernan Gomez, key player in the run. And I just want to say I'm grateful, I'm blessed, I'm humbled. And for the third year in a row, I'm a champion. I'm a champion, everybody. So yeah, I feel great.
I'm hearing some conspiracy theories that possibly Sam would get as fans. Do you think that contributes to possibly winning in the championship, that he might have not had control of his account during this hard season?
You were bugging out a bit, but it sounded like you said Sam was kidnapped by Jazz fans.
Oh yeah, that's definitely part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So regardless, a loss is a loss. He tied his boat to a sinking ship called Zion Williamson at the end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. Basically the New Orleans Pelicans, frankly. It was tough. It was tough for him. I'm sure he really whopped me at the beginning, really got me good, but he couldn't sustain it. And the playoffs, fantasy playoffs, it's a long haul. It's not over till it's over. I made 12 acquisitions throughout the week. I was a goddamn machine on the waiver wire.
Danny Ainge over here.
Spot I needed to. I was deranged. I had people going out left and right. I had no trust. Couldn't use Mitchell. Lost Siakam. Lost Christian Wood. Didn't matter. Came through big. I'm a champ. That's all I gotta say.
Speaking of champ, Russell Westbrook. He's a hell of a champion. Breaks the all-time triple-double record. Champion, quote unquote, on a pretty bad team.
Good for Russ.
I'm sorry?
Good for Russ. It's
cool.
It's really hard to do.
It is. Do we okay, is the conversation still in the mix as far as, do we think it's stat padding? Do we think it's effective? What exactly? Obviously the triple-double is an extremely difficult thing to do, but where does it come into play as far as effectiveness for the team?
I think that, if you look at Russ's team's records when he does triple-double, it is I believe something crazy, 72 and 50, something nuts. His teams usually win when he pulls it off. That said, he's very, very inefficient. He's still a very bad shooter. And that's definitely a problem. And it's good that he has Bradley Beal to help with the scoring load. But it's still really impressive. I mean, you look at the numbers and it's people don't just do that. People don't just put up 20 games, it doesn't happen. So it's still very impressive, but I don't know.
It's very much so an individual accolade, if you want to say that.
I think there's a real ceiling on it as far as as we've seen throughout his career, and I'd love to be proved wrong, but it's still really cool. But
yeah. Well, yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I think to John's point, when you look at triple doubles, you're actively ignoring all the other stats. You're actively ignoring field goal percentage. You're actively ignoring turnovers. That's the biggest one too. You can get a triple double, but if you have 10 turnovers, I don't know if you're necessarily helping your team. Not to say Russ does that every time, but he is notorious for, I think he's averaging almost 5 turnovers a game this year. Something like that, which not great. But
yeah,
so I think it's just a broken measurement of success. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily show your actual contribution to your team. It's just a way to praise people for doing a lot of work, which he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know who is a good shooter, though? Mr. Steph Curry. Steph Curry's a fantastic shooter. He is the oldest player in the league in scoring, 33 years old, 32 points per game. Since who? I'm assuming you put this one in, John. Do we have to guess?
Yeah. So go ahead. It was someone. I'll say pre-2000 is the last time someone in the age range of Steph Curry led the league in scoring.
That's my worst timeline.
I would guess Michael Jordan.
You're right. Yeah.
Oh,
Michael
okay,
Jordan
great.
did it when
yeah,
he was
yeah.
35 years old. 35 years old, averaged like 28 points per game. Yeah, but still, 33 years old, 32 points per game. That's unheard of. It's insane. Steph's awesome. Steph's
100%.
amazing.
He's also the fourth in NBA history with multiple scoring titles, MVPs, championships. Any guess on the other three? I hate these guessing games. You make me look like a goddamn fool.
Who do you think? Venture a guess. Everyone you get 3 guesses.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Shaq.
No, but that's not a bad guess.
Kobe?
No, not a bad guess either.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
Yao Ming.
Terrible. I'll just tell you, it's and let me just double check. I believe it is. Yeah, so you had 2 out of the 3 with Michael Jordan and Kareem. The last person, as is the answer to most NBA trivia, is Wilt Chamberlain.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Pour one out for Yao Ming, man. He was the.
If you say Wilt Chamberlain for any basketball stat, like.
Yeah, if you say Wilt Chamberlain and it's like some crazy historical accomplishment, odds are Wilt's the answer. So
No, that's totally fair. Pour one out for Yao Ming being one of the most fun players to play as. In God, what was it? What was it called? It was like NBA Backstreet or something like that, where it was like 3.
Yeah, he was.
That was good shit. That was good shit. And Yao Ming was the best. He was awesome.
That was a dog.
But in other news, I think his name is. Let me please forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. It's Udonis Haslem.
You got it.
He played for the first time this year, guys. Fucking awesome, right? Saw Dwight Howard for like 2 minutes and said, "Well, guess I gotta fuck this guy up, right?"
Who could blame him?
Who can blame him?
Yeah. I don't have a ton to say about this, obviously, but like it's just pretty funny. He's basically on the Heat as like an assistant coach, essentially. I think like Kevin O'Connor says he's like the highest paid assistant coach in the league, technically, just because he doesn't ever play, but he has a roster spot, gets a contract. Like came out for like 5 minutes, scored 2 baskets. And then Dwight Howard, he just said, I gotta throw my hands at him. I can't just stay on the court with this man. So that's really fun. That was a very fun Udonis Haslem moment. Probably the last time he'll ever be in an NBA game. Gets ejected for fighting Dwight Howard. So
he got a standing ovation when he came out onto the floor, and then he got ejected 2 minutes later.
You gotta respect
Heat icon.
Hey man, game respects game. Let me just say.
Yeah, which is why no one respects Dwight Howard.
Dang.
Well, actually, you know what, John? I'm sure I could pull some clips up from last year about a certain somebody on this podcast, very much so respecting Dwight Howard.
Nah. Definitely
Hey, Kevin, how is the residential Lakers fan with LeBron James tweaking his ankle?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to live in my fantasy world where LeBron and AD are always healthy and the Lakers are still a 1 seed. That's
In this
just
fantasy world, do you have the three-peat in our fantasy league?
no. I'm not even. I'm not that.
Not even.
Senile.
I'm not that delusional.
Yeah.
I know when I'm bad.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, East playing game starts Tuesday. Finally, we got some good shit going on, boys. We've got Charlotte versus Indiana, and we have Washington versus Boston. This is actually a very interesting matchup for Charlotte and Indiana. Not so much Boston and Washington. I can't imagine that that's going to be very fun. But why don't we talk a little bit about Charlotte versus Indiana? I just really want to quickly go around the podcast, see who's going to win. Kevin, I'll go with you first.
Honestly, I think Charlotte could pull this one out, mostly because they have. I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder much more than Indiana does. Indiana's still the same spot they are every year, and they don't care.
They don't move. It's fine. It's
They're
Indiana.
gliding along, happy as clams. I think the Hornets are going to come out really wanting to fight. I think they can take it.
John, I'm assuming you're going to pick the same thing.
I don't know if I am. I think so Indiana, so Charlotte is just worse when they don't have Gordon Hayward, which is, it feels silly, but he was actually as much as LaMelo and Terry Rozier drive a lot of success for them. Gordon Hayward was a big part of that equation when they were really, really fun and good. He's not going to be in this play-in game. He's still hurt. So that's one thing I'm concerned about. The other thing I'm concerned about is that Charlotte's bigs suck. They're terrible. And they're going to be playing against one of the best bigs in the league in Domantas Sabonis. So I kind of think, looking at the tear that Sabonis has been on, I kind of want to pick Indiana here just because I don't know what their answer is to him. LeVert's been playing pretty great. Brogdon's still around. I kind of want to take Indiana just for that mismatch alone, but the reason it's hard is because Indiana hates playing for Nate Bjorkgren. They don't like him. They don't like their coach. They hate the man. They don't respect him or his staff. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, fuck this, we're done, we're going home, we're not playing anymore. But I don't know. I'm picking Indiana.
That's fair. I think it's gonna be interesting to watch this game, especially. We'll see how very dominant LaMelo really is.
That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to count on a rookie in such high stakes, as good as LaMelo is in such high stakes basketball. So I would love for Charlotte to win because I want to see them keep playing. But
yeah, we'll see. Going on to Boston and Washington. I feel like this is a unanimous Boston. Am I wrong? Let's go!
Hey.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. My God. The Celtics really fucked up this season. I'm going to go around the podcast and say the number one reason why you think the Celtics fucked up this season. Kevin, I'll start with you.
I'd say that one trade where they got all they got was a trade exception and they used it on Evan Fournier and that was it. And he's somewhat contributing to the team and they still have a garbage team otherwise. And they're like, this guy, he's the one. And they're not good. They're just
no. John?
Yeah, Boston really blew it this year. I think everyone's going to want to forget this year. I would say the biggest mistake was basically what Kevin said, essentially trading Gordon Hayward for a trade exception instead of getting Miles Turner, who admittedly was hurt, has been hurt for quite a bit, but who knows how that shakes out if he's on the Celtics. And they could really use a guy exactly like that. So, Boston, they're another team where it's I don't think they want to play anymore this year. I think they're maybe done. I don't think their heart's in it. So
I feel so bad for Tatum. I truly do.
He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been really good, and it's just not enough because that team is they just. There's always next year.
they got Tatum and they've got Jaylen Brown, and you would think that would contribute to something, and it contributes to them being in the play-in game apparently. So that's fantastic. I love seeing that.
We get to see some. We get to see Bradley Beal in a playoff kind of scenario. He's going to be probably. I have a feeling they will be Boston. I'm sure we all agree on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they'll be playing. He'll get to play. Oh, that means that we're gonna get most likely Russ and Bradley Beal versus the Nets. So we'll get Russ versus KD and James Harden in a first-round series. Fun little OKC reunion. So that'll be a lot of fun, actually. It'll be like probably one of the most fun 5-game series that I'll have ever seen.
5-game, that's kind of bold.
I was gonna say.
I think that like having Russ and Bradley Beal is enough to win one playoff.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Give credit where credit is due, and that means Russ and Bradley Beal, nothing else.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad that that you guys think that Washington's gonna win, and the worst part about it is I'm not doubting it.
I
wish I wasn't as confident that Washington would win, but like. I don't know. I have a hard time believing in the Celtics at all after this season. That I like John said, I think they just don't want to play anymore.
So many like 20-point blowouts and shit. Just like they just don't have it in them this year. And yeah, I think they could beat Indiana. So I think they might still make the playoffs as much as they may not want to.
Well, that's unfortunate. Why don't we go on to the West play-in series for Wednesday? We've got Sam's favorite team, Sacramento, against Memphis, and we have the Golden State Warriors against LA.
San Antonio first, real quick.
Oh, you're right, San Antonio. I'm a fool. I'm a fool.
You're gonna be here.
Why don't we go over this? San Antonio versus Memphis. I feel like I want to say Memphis because I love Ja and everything he does. You can never count out San Antonio for really anything because Pop is just god tier, and they've made it this far somehow. I want to say Memphis, honestly. I feel like Ja's just gonna blow the fuck up, and I would love to see that. Kevin,
I'm torn on this one. I think this will be the most. I feel like the most boring of all the play-in games to watch. Granted, I think it'll be a really close game and a really good game, but like to watch, it's just both teams are so like similar and like fundamental basketball, and there's no like big, bright stars on either side. I mean, yeah, you got Ja, but especially this season, I feel like he hasn't been as highlight reely. And then on the Spurs, you got DeRozan, who is anti-highlight reel. He's great. Don't get me wrong. He's popping off this season, but anyway, I gotta lean towards Spurs just because I think you got guys like DeRozan. You got guys who have all had that kind of grit grind playoff fight so many times before on that team. And then on Memphis, it's a really young team. It's a really good young team, but I think they might come out and just have just not enough experience to go against the Spurs in such a short series. If it was a longer series, it might go differently, but if it's just 1 or 2 games, I think the Spurs can take that.
John?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of in the same place as Kevin, especially because I don't know how healthy Ja is. It just doesn't seem like he's as explosive and reckless as he usually is. It feels like he's still kind of like nursing that ankle injury from earlier this year. And I'm going to go with San Antonio because I trust Pop and I trust like DeMar as a good vet, like leading that team. Not that DeMar's like a playoff killer historically, but he's still like going to be one of the most veteran players out there, and he's still really good. So I'll take the Spurs. But
Yeah.
if the Grizzlies win, I don't know.
Yeah. I guess the better, like, really quickly, just like, do you guys actually want the Spurs to win, or would you rather have the Grizzlies win? Like, is there any personal kind of connection that you have, or do you just not really care?
I am totally indifferent.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think either of these teams are going to make the playoffs. I don't think.
However,
yeah.
We have the next one. Golden State versus the Lakers. Or is it the Lakers, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lakers. Just wanted to double check that the Lakers are in the play-in game. I just really wanted to make that abundantly clear that the Lakers are in the play-in game. Hey, you want to know what would be really funny? If Steph had the greatest game of his entire life against the Lakers and beat them. I think I would cry laughing.
I'm just saying my prediction is Warriors come out hot game 1, stomp the Lakers, and then Lakers come out with a game 2 win like by 5 points.
Against like Memphis or San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I feel like this might bite me in the ass, but I kind of think the Lakers are gonna like destroy the Warriors.
I've got shit on the Lakers.
The Warriors have actually been pretty good since Wiseman went out. They've kind of figured it out and let Steph like cook. And so, you know, if the Warriors win, I'm not gonna be like shocked. But like if LeBron is even like pretty okay health wise, like if he comes out and he's like 80%, 90%. AD's been really good. He's figured it out like in the past few games. So I think just having to compete with AD makes it really tough for them. And if LeBron is like pretty much healthy, then I don't know that I think. Then it's still the Lakers have like one of the best defenses in the league, 2 of the best stars in the league. I don't know if it'll be like actually particularly close, but you never know. It's one game. Steph could totally pop off, go absolutely crazy and win it. And I wouldn't be like shocked, but I keep looking at this and it's got like so much hype because of the potential. And I'm kind of like, this feels like one of those games that's pretty disappointing.
No, that's totally fair. It's totally fair. But let me ask you a question. Or actually, no. I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to say this. Boys, I am living for these LeBron tweets about how much he all of a sudden doesn't like play-in games.
Oh, yeah.
I need that. I need it. And if they lose, can you imagine?
I would be surprised if they lose to the 2 needed to get them completely knocked out. If they do, I honestly, if they do, I think we'll be worse off as basketball fans for not having the Lakers in the playoffs. Obviously, I'm biased, but I kind of want to see them lose one, even as a hype man for them. Like, I think that would just be such a big knock to LeBron's ego. And I think he kind of could use it a little bit, just a little bit. And I think that would make them come out much more aggressively after.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think like if they do lose this first game, I think I would say like it's a 99.9% chance they'd win the second one. And I think that there's like enough pettiness in LeBron that I could see him being like, yeah, let's lose this first one so that we can win the second one, and then we'll be the 8th seed, beat the Jazz, and then play the Clippers in round 2 because they're hiding from us. So I could definitely see that in LeBron, but yeah, no, I think we haven't got to talk about it on the pod yet, but just real quick, like what do you think? If LeBron does, and if LeBron and AD can carry this Lakers team to a championship, I do believe they'd be the lowest seeded team ever to win a championship in the NBA. I think the lowest currently is a 6 seed, Hakeem Olajuwon, Rockets team from the 90s, 6 seed. He carried him there. This would be kind of different because the Lakers are actually a good team, and they've just had terrible injuries. But, like, I don't know. What if LeBron wins a championship this year and he's also the Finals MVP? What does that do for you guys historically for LeBron? What does that do for you?
I feel like this just kind of see the weirdest thing is that if LeBron wins another championship, it does not faze me. It doesn't. Like, because it's just like he can do whatever he wants. He's so good. He's like mastered this game. And it's just like even if it's stacked against him, he could find a way. He could easily find a way to win. And so it's just like, but if he wins as a low seed team, if they win as the lowest seeded like playoff team in history, like, is Michael Jordan going to come out with the second documentary? I don't know, man. I think that would be nuts, and I think LeBron would just be like, "What else do I have? Like, what else should I do? Like, is there anything left on my bucket list at this point? Like, I don't know."
It would be pretty interesting.
I think LeBron's at that point too, where it's like Michael Jordan at the end of the second three-peat. Like, he's just checking boxes now of what he can do to, like, make his legacy bigger and bigger. And I think this would be the biggest thing he can physically do now. He's won so many championships with so many garbage teams. He's won championships with much worse teams than this Lakers team. Like, some of those Cavs
Lakers team's good.
Yeah. Some of those Cavs teams should not have been in the championship at all. And they were pretty high seeds because he carried him. So I think just having that on his Hall of Fame resume is something that he can kind of point to and be like, fuck you guys. I am the best NBA player right now. There's no question.
He'd have won back-to-back rings in two of the weirdest years in NBA history, under the weirdest circumstances possible. Like, it would just be, I don't know, it'd be interesting. But let's continue on. We have a lot to talk about. But it's
really quickly, did you guys watch the TikTok that I sent you? I know John hates TikTok.
I definitely did not.
So he probably has. But it was just like a TikTok making fun of like the last few years of basketball championship, where it was like literally the Warriors and the Cavs, and it was just like it eventually just got to the point where it was just like, and we have the Warriors and the Cavaliers again, and it looks like LeBron has cloned himself to make his entire team of himself against the Golden State Warriors, and you just see like Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and like Steph Curry on the Golden State Warriors. I'm just like, that really, like, that actually felt very real at the time. Like, it really did. Let's get into the rest of the playoffs, though. We have the East with the 1 through 6 seeds. So far, we are looking at Philadelphia at number 1, the Nets number 2, Bucks number 3, Knicks number 4, the Hawks number 5, and the Heat number 6. Just gets so much more depressing. It really does. Why don't we go over this again? Why don't we go over this, boys? John, possibility for the first round, or not first round, but just for Philly, for Philly's first round. Who are we looking at for a possible match?
My guess is they're gonna play Boston. I'm gonna guess they're gonna play Boston, and they're gonna smoke them. I'm like, no joke. It'll be like a little fucked up, actually. I think. I kind of almost feel bad for Boston. I don't know how they could even hope to stop Joel Embiid.
You can't.
Yeah. They're gonna smoke them. This is, I think, Philly's first 1 seed in like almost 20 years or something. It's been a long time, so this team's legit. If they this is a title contending legit team. I would believe it and not be shocked if this team won a title.
Now, I gotta throw this in there. I don't think they lose to Boston. I can't imagine that they do. But we have seen countless times of Philly choking in the playoffs.
True.
I mean,
It won't be.
There's a chance. There's got to be a chance that they fuck up, right?
Not in round 1. They will.
No, not in round 1. Not in round 1.
I could see, but they also have the easiest path to the finals because they're gonna play probably Boston, maybe Charlotte or Indiana, but round 1 they're gonna smoke whoever they play round 1. Round 2 they're either gonna play the Knicks or the Hawks. Neither of those teams are in the same tier as Philly. Like if Philly's healthy, they're gonna beat both those teams. I can see the Knicks being a little trickier just because they're so hard-nosed. The Hawks, they have such a great offense. You just never know. But, Philly's beating both of those teams. And so it's really going to come down to, are the Nets or the Bucks going to give it to them in the Eastern Conference Finals? If Philly loses before the Eastern Conference Finals, blow up the team. It's over. It doesn't matter. It's not worth it anymore because it's embarrassing. But
move the franchise to Seattle. Change your name to the Seattle. You're done. Yeah. You're done.
So that's just my Philly thoughts. I think they're gonna cakewalk to the Eastern Conference Finals. From there, it'll be interesting.
It's going to be a hard-fought battle with the Knicks, though, having Coach of the Year Tom Thibodeau. Give it up for Froggy, man. The dude somehow changed the team to a fucking 4th seed. Never could have imagined it at all. So gotta give him props for pulling that off. And gotta give props to Julius Randle for apparently being good. Kevin, first round, as far as the Nets go, who are you looking at them playing? Because I'm pretty sure that one is still undecided as well.
Yeah, so that'd be the 7th seed they play.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wins that 7th, 8th seed play-in game, which I'm thinking that's tough. I don't know. I gotta go with the Wizards just because I said them they gotta beat Boston initially, and then I think the Nets. Yeah, I think we talked about that before. I think the Nets just kind of sweep. Maybe the Wizards get one win, maybe, but I think the Nets take it in 5 games max.
I think Bradley Beal gets a personal victory. I think that's all that matters at this point.
Hey, as long as they're in the playoffs, I think that'll be worth it for Bradley Beal. I think he deserves that.
He does. He really does.
After all the shit that he's been through, come on. All right, let's look at the next one. We've got the Bucks. John, Bucks are playing
Heat.
The Heat. Do we really have to go over this one? I can't imagine that they lose to the Heat.
Wow, you can't even imagine it, man?
No.
It just happened last year. I could show you what it looks like.
Yeah, I know, but they were so good. The Heat was a much better team last year. Let's be honest.
I mean, were they that different? They're one Jay Crowder away. I think that I agree. Here's the thing. I actually do agree with you. I think the Bucks will win. And either way, whoever wins this series, the poor Brooklyn Nets are going to have just a terrible time in the next round facing them. But I think the Bucks will win. I do think that they're legit this year. Jrue Holiday has been awesome for them. Total massive upgrade over Eric Bledsoe. I'll pick the Bucks. I don't have a ton to say about them, but look, Jimmy Butler's a crazy person, and I think
that's fair.
I think that and Bam is honestly one of the best, one of the best centers in the league, one of the best defenders in the league. Pretty versatile offensively, still can't really shoot, but all they need is for like a big Duncan Robinson game, big Tyler Hero game. Like they just need these games from the supporting cast that like help them out.
Yeah,
yeah.
The thing for me is I think I do agree. I think the Bucks do win. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to watch because Jimmy Butler, Bam, love them. Love them. So that'll be good. Kevin, we have the next one. We have Sam's New York Knicks.
And his Hawks.
Against Sam's Hawks. What a fight. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that the Knicks win. I have no faith in the Hawks whatsoever. I really don't. They have absolutely no defense whatsoever. But what do you think, Kevin?
I was going to say something similar. I think the Knicks do have some defense. Not a whole lot, but I think definitely more than the Hawks. And I think that's going to be the big key factor. And I think they have much more versatility in positions. Like they have guards that can shoot. They have Julius Randle who can shoot from everywhere. Whereas I feel like the Hawks just have guards that can shoot, and that's it. I don't know. I'm man the Hawks.
So I will say this about the Knicks. They have a defensive rating in fourth in the league. So, yeah, they got a good defense.
I thought they had a little bit worse defense, but I also don't pay attention to defense that much because I'm not NBA.
I mean, neither do the Hawks. So the Hawks don't pay much attention to that, too.
I'll just come in hot and spicy real quick, and I'm going to, just for the sake of the heat, I'm going to pick the Hawks.
Damn.
I am. Clint Capella is actually low-key really fucking good this year. And Trey's awesome. Bogey out here fucking balling out all of a sudden. That man almost cost me a fantasy championship. So I'm going to pick the Hawks. I'm just going to go ahead and do something crazy.
Why not? Why not? We out here, man. The Bulls have failed miserably. What else do we have left to lose?
Fucking think about those motherfuckers for another few months. Those stupid fucking idiots. Holy shit, dude. They blew it so goddamn hard, man. Oh, I'm so not happy with the Bulls. I'm so over it. They better, I guess I just have to hope next year that they have enough to be, I don't know, a 6 seed.
It's really funny because as soon as you started going on that little tirade, I feel like it's one of those shows, like cartoons or whatever, where it's like SpongeBob, and it's just like he starts on a rant, and then it's just like 5 hours later, and it's just you fuming with steam out of your ears, just going for the final kill on the Bulls.
If I didn't love Patrick Williams so much, I don't know what I would do. I can't believe it. I just Vooch is 30.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out here in Chicago, boys. Let's go to the West. I don't really want to talk about the Jazz because they kidnapped Sam. And we only get Jazz hate on this podcast. But let's talk about them anyway. So we briefly talked about how it is very possible for the Jazz to have a first round against the Lakers. That's going to be rough. That would be very rough.
Yeah, if the Jazz play the Lakers, I'm picking the Lakers. Jazz still have to work back both Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley, who have been missing quite a bit of games towards the end of the year. So there's that hurdle. And then, I mean, look, the Jazz are awesome. They're obviously incredible. Had a great year. If they play Golden State, I think they'll probably win that series. If they play the Lakers, I think things are going to get pretty tough for them. So I'm going to, I don't have a ton else to say about the Jazz, but I just think they're going to be really watching that play-in game very carefully.
They're going to be nervous as hell. Man. They're going to freaking out. Rudy Gobert is just going to be like, God damn it, I have to guard Anthony Davis and LeBron. It's gonna be hell on earth for them. And it really does suck because they had such a fantastic year just to end up with the first round against the Lakers.
Yeah. So they're
You know how shitty that is? Like let's just think about that for a minute. Your accomplishment for being the best in your area is that you have to go against the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's shit.
They're
Let's go.
definitely rooting for the Lakers to win that first game so they can get out. But
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin. Let's go to the next one for the Suns. We've got the Suns against. I don't think we went over the possibility for who the Suns are possibly going to be playing.
It'll also probably either be the Lakers or Golden State.
Oh, good. Yeah. So same situation.
Literally the same thing.
Literally the exact same. I feel so bad.
Yeah, both these teams are just like right now, the Suns. Conversely to the Jazz, the Suns are like, oh please, like for the love of God, Steph Curry, please have the game of your life on Wednesday. Like the Suns are the biggest Steph Curry fans in the world right now. So yeah, great year for the Suns. Hope you get lucky, because otherwise I don't think that you guys have a chance against the Lakers. I'm sorry, I just don't.
It's very unfortunate to say the least.
I do think honestly that the Lakers might take it easy game one in the play-in to make sure LeBron's healthy, make sure AD's healthy and at 100%. And if Steph's going off, let him go off. Whatever. They'll get the next game and get in. Get in the 8th seed, get the Jazz, get the Clippers. Fine. And then that brings Suns Warriors, and I think that'll be a good series, but I definitely think Suns will take that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Suns are very, very good. I really wish that they were in the Eastern Conference. Be much more fun.
They'd have some tough ass matchups at the top of the East too. But they're still, I think the Jazz and Suns have the first and second best record in the whole league. So
yeah,
great year for both of them. Terrible situation for them this week.
Just the worst. Just the absolute worst. Here's your first place trophy as you trip over everything in front of you out the door. Like, what a...
It's going to be tough. It's going to be
terrible.
Tough.
Let's go on to the Nuggets, however. The Nuggets, also a very good team, very great team, going against Portland. Very different matchup in the first two. It's so hard to count Dame out with how clutch he is, but who the fuck is going to play against Jokic? Kevin, can you answer me?
No, there is no answer to that. But I think this will be a good matchup. I mean, Jokic is going to go off. Jokic is going to tear the floor up. But I think this is really, really, really going to force Michael Porter Jr. to play good playoff basketball. Because the Blazers are going to score a lot. Dame and CJ are going to score 60 points every night combined, at least. And so that's going to force Michael Porter Jr. to at least pick up some slack. And I really, really, really want to see him do well in the playoffs.
John, who are we looking at for the Nuggets right now? I mean, obviously it's Jokic, right? Obviously it's Jokic, but who else other than, I guess, Kevin's mention of Michael Porter Jr. would we be hoping to blow up?
I mean... Let me also just really quickly add about Jokic that, like, you mentioned that Dame is clutch as hell, but, like, I think Jokic is actually, like, right up there with him. Even, like, by the numbers, the man is just, like, ice cold. But, so the truth is, like, it's exactly like Kevin said. It's Michael Porter Jr., who's been really, really good since the Jamal Murray injury. Like, he stepped up, and he's now, like, a pretty reliable 20 points for that team just about every night. Like, so... It's going to be him stepping up. Aaron Gordon is going to be actually like pretty essential, at least defensively.
He's been essential.
He has. Yeah. He's been great. And like, other than that, like there's not, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really any other guys who are like big, like popping off guys, but they got good role players that are like pretty steady. I personally, like, even despite that, I kind of think that the Nuggets are gonna I don't think that Portland's very good, even though they've been great to end the year. I think they finished the year like 9-1 in their last 10 games or some crazy shit like that. I just don't believe in them at all. I think that they're gonna. I think the Nuggets will be just fine.
Yeah, Portland's a fun team to watch because of Dame and CJ, but as far as that goes, it's just like you've got your cap. You just I can't see you breaking through it. There's only so far you can go. Why don't we talk a little bit about the Clippers, John?
Woo! Clippers? Okay. I'm going to just say this because I think that a lot of people all over sports are calling these guys cowards. And they're saying this is going to be like a big karmic failure for them as the playoffs go on. But here's the thing. Why would you not try to avoid the Lakers? Why would you want to play the Lakers before the Western Conference Finals? I'm sorry, I get it. It was shameless the way that they basically played their third stringers against the Rockets and Thunder, the two worst teams in the league, and did everything they could to lose those last two games to get the 4 seed. And maybe it doesn't even work out, and then they just kind of look like fools or whatever. But why would you want? I can't imagine. If you're the fucking, I bet that the Jazz wish that they could do something right now to not have to play the Lakers round 1.
Yeah.
I bet the Suns wish they could do something to make sure they don't play the Lakers round 1. I don't blame the Clippers for not wanting to play the Lakers that early. It's fucking scary. They're LeBron James and AD. Why would you want to play them before you have to? Now all they need to do is beat the Mavericks, and then they get to play probably the Jazz, unless the Lakers happen to be in that series, and then then you get what you then it's just desserts. But I think this will actually be, just to put it back to the series though, for Mavs Clippers, it's gonna be a good series. It was a good series last year. And Luka's even better now. And so Mavs in 4, and Clippers will win. I want to see the Clippers and Lakers play each other, and now that probably has to happen in the Western Conference Finals. Cool. We all want that. That's what everybody wants. So let's get it to happen. But this will be a good series. Mavs, Clippers. It'll be fun. Luka's awesome in the playoffs. So
100%. Boys, let's just take a really quick rewind at our playoff predictions from episode 51. What a disaster. John, I'm assuming these were all just averaged out from.
Yeah, these are our aggregated playoff predictions from, I think, either right before the season started or right as the beginning of the season was happening. And we got close for some of them. There's a couple embarrassing misses.
Yeah.
But Matt, I'll let you run it down to start if you want. If there's anything that sticks out to you here, we were dead right about the Nets. We were dead right about the
Nets.
Nets.
Yes, we were. And that's the only one. I'm just kidding. Look,
nailed the East play-in rankings almost exactly right.
Yeah, that's very true. Look, the Celtics, obviously a disgrace. Let's just throw that right out the window right now. Very disappointed in the Raptors, unfortunately. It really sucks. It really, really sucks that they couldn't play in their hometown, their home stadium and stuff like that. That's a huge pain in the ass. Kevin, I think you'll agree with me. It's kind of a pain to see how Siakam kind of really shit the bed this year. He just did not hype as well as we thought he would,
Yeah, I think we definitely hyped him up at the beginning of the season too. We really thought he was gonna step up, and he didn't.
And it's funny. He put up I think his stat line this year is 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He had good numbers, but it didn't feel like a good year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know what? I think it really all boiled down to the fact that Fred Van Vliet did not have another kid. That
That's it.
very much so probably was the reason that they're not so high up. And that's on us. That's on us for not predicting it.
Yeah.
Um,
We had the Heat as a 3rd seed, which they actually like. I think that the Heat are a 6th seed this year because they had crazy COVID health related issues, injury problems. I think if this team was healthy, they'd be higher seeded. That's the story for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
We had the Sixers at 4. That was foolish.
Kevin, Sixers at 4, and the Bucks at 1. How are we feeling about that now?
I think we all underestimated how good of chemistry the Sixers were really going to have this year.
Yeah.
I think we all were kind of shitting on them and like, they're going to be good, but are they going to be that good? And then they were that good.
and then they were that good.
Yeah, it was.
None of us. I think we were all probably like, Embiid's gonna miss games. He's not gonna like it. And then he came out and was basically the MVP of the year. Like so.
Practically, yeah. I think the Hawks clearly we had no hype on them except for Sam.
I think that it's impressive that they even showed up on this list at the beginning of the year. I think that I probably thought they were like barely gonna make the play. So
yeah.
But hey, we had the Wizards as a 7 seed. We had the Pacers in the 9 seed and the Hornets in the 10 seed.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I feel like in all fairness, the Hornets are always the 10th seed.
But we were right. And
you're right.
And you know what? If we just flipped the Celtics and the Hawks, could have had that too. So the Knicks not on this list.
Why don't we? Yeah, that was a hell of a mistake. Let's just throw. I can't even like. Oh my God! Whoever, if there was one guy who bet like just a ton of money that the Knicks would be in the playoffs, I'm sure he'd be like rich as hell right now. Like because I don't think anybody could have guessed that the Knicks would have been in the playoffs except for Sam.
Yeah, but that I don't think was even our most embarrassing omission, which happened in the Western Conference, where we on our aggregate rankings did not even have the Utah Jazz as we had them as probably an 11 seed, I guess. Not me though. Just to point out, I'm the only person that had them on the list. I went back and looked. I had them as a 6 seed, which is still obviously wrong. But I had them, so don't come for me, Utah fans. It wasn't me.
Don't kidnap me now.
I didn't do it. But that's obviously, boy, did we blow it.
Can we honestly say though that the Lakers are? It's just like it's so hard. So we had the Lakers as number 1. We had the Clippers as number 2. I think that they are like the 1 and 2 seed. Like they are that good, but they aren't the 1 and 2 seed. So it's just like, how the fuck? Like it's just like bad luck at that point. It was very fun to make fun of the Lakers for being in the playing game. Very detrimental to Kevin's health, unfortunately. Sorry to hear about that, buddy. Why don't we talk about the the Nuggets we got right.
We almost had the Mavericks right. We had them as a 4 seed. Mm-hmm. They're a 5 seed. Blazers, we had a 5 seed. They're a 6 seed.
Boy, did we get the Suns wrong. And boy, did we get the Rockets wrong.
Really quickly, I just checked betting stats for beginning of this season. The Knicks you would get the biggest payout if you bet on the Knicks to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year than any other team in the Eastern Conference.
Wow.
There's probably a bunch of people who are feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think clearly the most shocking is how horrible everything ended for the Rockets. Kevin, I mean, you got to admit, like that was just a terrible, terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah, you kind of hate to see it. I felt like it was watching like a Jenga tower collapse on itself.
Yeah.
Like you pull one piece out and it looks pretty steady. Like it's wobbling a little bit, but it looks pretty steady. And then you go back and you're about to take out another piece and it just slowly falls over like in slow motion. And that's what it felt like watching the Rockets this year. Like, oh my God, it was tough. Very tough to watch.
As Malcolm Gladwell would say, there was absolutely a tipping point.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
There's some high school knowledge for you. There's some sociology for you. Folks back home definitely should be reading on Malcolm Gladwell. Great person. Anyway, yeah, the Rockets being as bad as they are, man, that's really unfortunate. And not to mention I think what's really unfortunate, especially for the fans, John, is the fact that we don't get to see Pelicans, or actually not even Pelicans, just Zion in the playoffs. Really, really unfortunate.
I'm glad they didn't make the play-in because of Zion's injury.
Yeah.
Because it would have been a bummer if they were there without him. Look, they're going to be there. They'll make it. I bet. I'll go ahead and say like they'll probably be at the least a play-in team next year. I feel like there's only so much that can stop Zion the better he gets. Like this was his second year. It was basically like another rookie year with how few games he played last year. So yeah, it sucks that the Pelicans didn't make it. Yeah, the Grizzlies.
We had the Grizzlies. Guys, you want to say anything else before we hop on off?
I don't have much else to say other than I'm just like really excited. I think this is going to be one of the most fun playoff. It'll be like literally no one has any idea what's going to happen. No one has any idea. Every single one of the favorites is very flawed. Like they're all great teams with big flaws, and that's exciting. So we might see some cool upsets. Playing games are going to be probably really cool. I'm really excited. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And the champ is here. It's me. I'm the champ. I'm here. I'll be here. And though my reign may end, I can say that, just remember, it's Michael Jordan again, Kobe Bryant, and John Murphy. That's a three-peat, baby.
Oh, good Lord. Jesus fucking Christ. And on that note, there's the podcast for you, I guess. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching the show. You can find us on YouTube. If you are watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are a Jazz fan, please give us Sam back. We'd very much appreciate it. If you listen to us on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. It really helps out. Leave comments. Show us to your friends, your families. Show us to people who might hate us or might love us. Who knows? Find us on Spotify. You can see our fire memes on Instagram. Thanks to Meme Lord Kevin over here. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Peace out.
NBA playoffs, baby.